Hey, it's Doug with Backcountry Pilgrim. As you may or may not know, I am not a bushcrafter. So, when a company called Beavercraft from the Ukraine asked me if I would review their AX3 bushcrafting axe, I said, heck yeah. Backcountry Pilgrim is not a bushcraft channel. I am not a bushcrafter. However, it is something I've always wanted to try. I figure a lot of people who are into hiking, camping, and backpacking also would enjoy doing some projects out in the woods, maybe at a campsite. The way I figure it, most of the people watching this channel getting into bushcraft are probably going to do kind of the same thing I did, which is watch a bunch of YouTube videos on bushcrafting, get an idea of what is out there, and then make a purchase decision. Yeah, where is your axe department? I am trying out 4 different axes at 4 different price points. And I am going to be telling you what I think about them as a beginner based on my research and my experience out here today. If you are a bushcrafter or any kind of outdoorsman, you are probably going to get a good laugh out of this. As I try putting these axes through their paces, I am going to be learning at the same time. Now, I'm not a complete idiot. I have watched several bushcraft videos on YouTube, so you know I'm ready for this. Now, I've done enough research to know that many of these are at least fairly legitimate bushcraft axes. At least one of them, probably not. Now, this axe right here runs about $100 retail. I wanted to try another axe that came in at a higher price point. So I'm also going to be reviewing my buddy's Council Tool Woodcraft pack axe with a 19-inch handle. That axe runs about $200 retail, so it is about twice the price of the Beavercraft AX3. I'm also going to be looking at the Fiskars X7. This is about a $35 axe. You can pick it up at most hardware stores. It is very highly rated as a budget entry-level bushcraft axe by many bushcrafters. Rounding off the axe selection for today is the Pittsburgh fiberglass handle axe that I picked up at Harbor Freight. This beauty runs $8.99. So I've basically got axes coming in at $10, $35, $100, and $200. And I'm going to let you know my experience for trying these axes out for the very first time. Here's the Council Tool. Beavercraft starts off about as thick. It doesn't taper as slowly. Here's the Fiskars, basic wedge, and then the Pittsburgh. All right, I'm going to start with the Council Tool Woodcraft axe. This is a premium axe. It's going to kind of set the standard for what I think about the other 3. Now, this is a buddy's. This is the only one that is used. All of these other axes are getting their very first try today. He told me that this is the factory edge, and he's only used it about 6 times. I'm just going to start with some basic moves on this stick and see how it feels. Wow, look at that. That was actually quite a bit easier than I thought it would be. That is very smooth. I was not expecting an axe to cut like that. That's like something I would expect from a knife. Pretty nice. All right, the Beavercraft AX3. Not getting quite as nice of a shave there, Feels like it's bouncing back a little bit. Feels like it's shaving pretty nice. Not quite as smooth, but pretty darn nice. Getting a lot more divots. This one seems to be a little heavy for something this short. Kind of like the handle on the other one better. All right, for initial test, not bad. All right, Fiskars X7. Wow, it feels pretty good actually. I think it's a little easier to control. Getting a little better shave on this. Tiny little head. I like this handle though. It seems easier to control than the Beavercraft actually. Definitely shaves better. Of course, I'm going on a, let's see how it does here. This is actually pretty impressive. Nice. All right, now my $8.99 axe from Harbor Freight. Having a little bit more trouble keeping it on the wood. It's probably not quite as sharp. Let's just try more standard here. It is bouncing off quite a bit more, glancing off the wood. Let me go back to the council tool for a minute here. Oh yeah, that bites in a lot better. Yeah, I can really feel the difference. Look at that, just shaves it right off like a razor. And this is the one that isn't new. Yeah, this is like butter. Let me try this guy again. I feel like this is just a lot heavier and a little harder to wield. But it does chop well. I'm not sure about, I don't know, there's something about the geometry or the weight that's making it a little harder on me. Smooth though. Yeah, this thing is just, it's hitting and just glancing off. It's really hard to get it to bite. I mean, even when I don't strike very well with the council tool, it is still just getting me something with every hit. I can almost just drop it onto the wood and get a nice shave. I feel like with the Beavercraft, it's a bit more effort. I'm not able to just sort of drop it in there quite as easy, but it is making nice cuts. With the Fiskars, I get a great bite. I don't get as much into it as I am with some of the others, but it is definitely biting right into the wood. And that's pretty cool. So yeah, I can definitely tell a difference in these axes. I'm gonna try to find something bigger and try to do some chopping. So one thing that's gonna make this comparison unfair is that the council tool is a 19-inch axe, whereas the other ones are more like small hatchets. So I'm just gonna take a couple swings at this and see how it goes. pretty good. Also pretty decent. Ooh. Jeez. You see that bounce? That's danger. A sharp axe is a safe axe. This is not. I am being very careful here. Wow, this thing sucks. Council tool, Beavercraft, Fiskars, Pittsburgh. Wow. Woo! Woo! Yes. That was a lot harder than I expected. Woo! Okay, let's process this down back over on the stump. So I feel like this thing is definitely working. I think the short handle is just making it a lot more difficult than I anticipated. This is not a giant axe, but that strong two-handed grip with that much room, I've basically got the same amount of grip, but there's nothing to hang on to here. So I can kind of go like half grip. Works good. How about yo Fiskars? So here, a little better. Jeez. Yeah, it's basically just blunt force with this. I mean, that thing should have split on the first strike, no problem. Axe bounced right off it. Again, I'm not much of a woodsman, but sheesh. I mean, look at that. It's just doing nothing. Another thing I'm noticing is that this handle is sliding around a lot in my hand. I don't know if that's because it's oiled. This really doesn't move too much. It's smaller, handle's thicker on this one. A lot more of a pronounced angled base here. I think that is contributing to it. This is wider. Pretty grain pattern though, look at that. Seems like it's kind of facing the wrong way. The grain's going horizontally instead of vertically. I'm hitting and it's twisting and it's pulling it out of my grip. With this one, I can practically let go of the axe and it still chops. It's just a beast. I'm doing terrible chops right now. My hand is getting very tired. I'm barely even hanging on to the axe and it's still just slicing through this wood. With the Beavercraft, I gotta be a lot more intentional about my chops. However, when I choke up on it and get it in here, which is probably more the working angle, I can get through stuff pretty well. Now the council tool's a little harder to get up, choke up on that. Funny, now it's kind of bouncing off. So, you know, may just be the right tool for the right job. See, the Fiskars, it's just a lot harder. It bites in easier, but it's a lot harder to get it through. Probably because it weighs less. And this poor pathetic thing, I mean, look at these hits. You're basically just slamming. It's just blunt force trauma with this axe. I mean, it'll do the job, but it is not pretty. Not that I expected much. This is not a scientific test, but I've got a piece of wood here that's somewhat uniform. I'm just going to give like my best swing onto each piece and just see how nice of a cut it makes, all right? So first, council tool. Clean. All right, Beavercraft. Also pretty clean. Fiskars. And I took some material off, but the cut, I mean, that's like time for sandpaper there. And Mr. Pittsburgh. One more time. Oh, geez. Come on, baby. Well, all right. Well, when it finally did manage to bash its way through, not unacceptable. But again, guys, just, you know, is this what you want? Like, this is just going to be frustrating. This is no fun to use at all. All right, so what is my takeaway after using these 4 different axes? First of all, remember that I was experimenting with 4 very different price ranges. I basically had a $10 axe, a $35 axe, a $100 axe, and a $200 axe. Now, the $200 axe did outperform all of the other 3. However, the other 3 axes were much smaller. They were really more hatchet-sized, whereas the $200 axe from Council Tools was really just a small-handled axe. At 19 inches, I could do a lot more with that axe than I could with the smaller hatchet-sized ones. Now, when it came to the 3 smaller hatchet-sized axes, I would say that there was something of a tie between the Beavercraft Axe 3 and the Fiskars X7. The $10 Pittsburgh axe that I got from Harbor Freight was just about useless to the point of being dangerous. I don't know if it can be salvaged with a sharpening of some kind, but out of the box, that thing was virtually useless. Now, the Fiskars axe, I would say, did better when it came to the finer work. If I wasn't really chopping hard, the Fiskars had a little bit better bite, and I think that that wedge angle just gave it a bit more purchase on the wood. I didn't have to work very hard to get it to cut through. However, with the tougher jobs, the Beavercraft Axe 3 performed very well. I would say that the Fiskars came out of the box sharper. I would definitely like to see what this is going to do when I put a little better edge on it, because I think its combination of weight, craftsmanship, and styling, it's a beautiful axe. I mean, this is the kind of thing that I would hand down to my children. However, if I'm just going to go to a campground and beat on logs and break things into kindling, I'm not sure that I would need to spend 3 times as much to go from something like a Fiskars X7 to the Beavercraft Axe 3. However, if you are looking for something that is just beautiful and heirloom quality, I would absolutely check out the Beavercraft, because unlike some of the other bigger brands that are out there, you're not going to have to get into the $200 range to get something that's going to work. I would say that if you're looking to get into the nice axes, but you aren't ready to drop several $100s on one, Beavercraft should be on your list. Now, these are not American made, but if you are interested in supporting small businesses in the Ukraine, this is a good way to go. All right, I hope you enjoyed coming along with me in my first bushcrafting experience. If you did, why don't you give the video a like and subscribe to Backcountry Pilgrim if you are into hiking, camping, backpacking, and the gear and fun tools that go with it. Until next time, I'm Doug. Thanks for watching.